Hey guys, Veebat here with another V-Plays, taking a look at some BF-109F gameplay. This is going to be the Tier 6 BF-109, working our way down to the 1101. And this aircraft is going to be a little bit different than what we saw with the Emil. Now, with the Emil, you had a total of 3 cannons and 2 light machine guns, but you sacrificed the 2 wing-mounted cannons you had on the Emil in order to give you a little bit more engine power. The whole concept behind this redesign was to remove some of the redundant guns, if you could even call them that. For the game purposes, I would rather have the cannons, but in this case, it looks like the game has opted to be true to history in that removing those 2 20mm cannons, then upping the 7.92s to 13mm machine guns in the nose, and then retaining the 15mm or possibly upgrading to a 20mm cannon in the hub. You are going to get an increased engine power with this aircraft, so you're going to find that it performs a lot better at higher altitudes. This aircraft can actually operate at around 6,500 opposed to, I think it was 5,600 we saw with the Emil. One of the first things you need to do in any game is determine what the most strategic objective is going to be. The most strategic objective on this map is going to be the rocket base. The reason that I'm focusing the rocket base is I actually played this exact map earlier today and had a terrible time because we had no ground attack capability with the players on our team, and we were unable to take the mining facility. Now, if we had a GA, that would be an optimum setup for us because it's essentially worth 2 capture zones. But since we don't have that, we're going to need an offensive base, and the rocket base is near the enemy spawn. Now, I stated early on in the battle to my ally that that's where we need to go. He told me it was a bold move, and I told him that if we don't get it, we're gonna lose it. So it's going to be a difficult fight since I am near where the enemy is going to be coming back to life, but you'll see that I have a pretty good go at it at trying to take out 2 P-38s and then the multitude of light fighters that are coming into the zone. And what is not helping my situation is that there is a Ju-88 bomber here, albeit it is a bot, which means he's going to take a while if he wants to try and capture this zone solely through bombing runs. This is what I was talking about, that P-38F has respawned and is back for some revenge, so I'm getting attacked by 4 different aircraft right now, and hopefully we'll be able to at least slow down their capture progress. Now, with this gun setup, it does change the way the aircraft plays a little bit, in that you're no longer going to be optimizing the cannons as much as you're going to be doing most of your damage output with the 13mm. It's more like the cannon is there as a bonus damage output and is good for being able to pepper them at range in order to try and get some crit damage if you would like to try and do that, but it's going to be a little bit more difficult when you only have one of them available. Now, I'm stealing this kill from the enemy because if I steal that kill, it gives us a reset on that zone. We want to keep them from getting this. Right now we have 2 zones. We have the garrison and the airfield. I'm occupying a lot of their forces over this rocket base or this military facility, so this is going to be the best move for us. I kind of get my teeth into this P-38 and I would like to eliminate him. You can see the machine guns were chunking him away, but I got 2 more aircraft on my tail, and knowing when to disengage is very valuable. We're going to use our ability to climb in order to get some separation from that enemy fighter that was on us, because we don't want to be in an unfair fight, which is what we were essentially in right there. I would like to go after that bomber, but there just is not enough damage output on this aircraft to be able to do that and survive the engagement, so I am picking my targets very wisely. We're going to go after this MiG-3 from the head on. We're going to get most of our guns on target. And unfortunately, we collide with the MiG-3. That was an accident, and we lost a bit of the capture zone as a result. When a player dies inside of a capture zone, they get a lot more capture points. So let's go ahead and respawn at the airfield and see if we can help our allies out in taking this facility. If we can retain this advantage, we should be able to win this battle wholeheartedly, which is great because I am trying to get the ×2 off of this aircraft. Currently, the aircraft has the 1 upgraded engine. It's been upgraded with the new airframe with no visible changes to the design of the aircraft whatsoever, and we've also upgraded to the 13mm from the 7.92s. This aircraft fully stock is going to be a bit of a pain with only 792s, so suggest if you can afford it with some free XP to go ahead and put those 13 millimeters on here as soon as possible. Now we got a couple of low health aircraft here. I'm putting shots in. It looks like that Russian fighter, what is that, the Yak, is operating outside of his envelope. So he is nearly standing still. You saw I was able to make 2 zooming passes on that aircraft, and the engine power is not wanting on this aircraft. A lot of people say that after the Emil it's kind of a downhill grind for this aircraft. Not downhill as in easy, as in downhill as very difficult. So I've been finding that it's not too bad right now. I am interested to see what the G holds for us, because the G gives you a 30 millimeter cannon in the hub, which means you can emphasize that damage a little bit more, but you're going to have to be very selective in your shots as well as your engagements, which is again going to be very similar to what we saw with the E model. We were able to take this facility, so I am feeling pretty confident right now. And the problem is we have to retain it. So I'm going to get a little bit of separation from the fight, and then I'm going to come back and start engaging the enemy aircraft. Now we have a 0 climbing up towards us, which means he's going to be in a low energy state. We are building up speed. We put a decent amount of damage into him, and now I start climbing because that aircraft cannot operate at higher altitude. I'm going to try and get the advantage. Looks like he's not interested in us, however, so let's continue on to the rocket base. 2 heavy fighters, not going to be a good situation for us. And it looks like the damage I did on the 0 was enough to be able to have one of our allies be able to take him out. P-38s are a very dangerous aircraft, and they're very, very fast, but as you can see here, we have no problem diving down on them and nearly overtaking him. I actually had to slam on the brakes for a minute there in order to keep on his tail in order to let those guns do their work. You're not going to have that burst damage that you had prior, so just be prepared for having to attrit the enemy's health away a little bit more than you have in the past. Now there's the nice thing about the rocket base. It helped us take the mining facility, and now it is helping us take that garrison. This is the player in the P-40. He's probably going to be the most dangerous aircraft alive, and now that the squall line is up, I want him to go away as soon as possible because I don't want to have to contend with him. There's one other player in the match, and he's in a Spitfire. Spitfires are not meant to operate at this altitude. I'm letting the guns cool, waiting till I get a prime shot on his tail, and then I open up with the cannons and the machine guns. That's the way you want to use this aircraft. Now I see this Ju-88 and I think, oh, I can go after him, but just look at the damage he's putting out with those machine guns, and my cannons have overheated. This aircraft is meant to burst down other fighters or possibly give chase to a heavy. You do not want to be going after bombers unless they are low health, which is the instance that we did earlier when we killed the Ju-88 in order to capture the zone. We just achieved Wing Legend, and at this point we are just in mop-up mode.
Way to go! Victory is close.
There's lots of aircraft still available. Most of them are on low health. The XP-44, again, not an altitude fighter, isn't supposed to be here. Passing run on that P-38. At this point, I'm just trying to rack up some more points, so I'm trying to kill him so I can try and protect my ally. Now we have several other aircraft. There's a low health F-7F. Let's get rid of him. And I would really like to kill this P-38 before the game is over.
The enemy is almost defeated. Make a final push.
We are running a full universal load on all of the guns. There's only 3 of them. 2 of them are heavy machine guns, and 1 of them is a cannon, so it's well worth our time to allow ourselves to let those guns carry a very expensive ammo load. Now let's take a look at some of the post-game stats. Here we are at the results screen. We managed to kill 16 aircraft. We've unlocked the final 20mm cannon. I'm not sure how much this is actually going to change the performance of the aircraft from the 15mm cannon we have in the hub. It gets a little bit of extra range and another 10 damage per second, bumping it from 80 to 90 damage a second. That may be relatively significant at this point, but not enough that I think it's going to warrant another video. I think this more than highlights the overall capabilities of the aircraft, and as you saw, we were able to get over 18,000 personal points, not only putting us at the top of the team, but far outperforming any of the other players in the match. We racked up a slew of medals, including Winged Legend, and then we're able to attain ourselves some tokens. And we beat out the top player on the enemy team, who was only at about 6,000, so we nearly tripled everyone's score. When it comes to the modules on this aircraft, it's going to be the same same modules that we saw loaded on the Emil, and that's going to be the engine tuning, the improved radiator, as well as the gun sight, and soon we will be able to unlock the ability to put on Engine Guru 1, and I think that'll really tip the scales for this aircraft. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, like, favorite, comment, subscribe, and if you didn't like it, let me know what we can do better, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.